Boys and girls, welcome to my channel. I'm for Classic and welcome to BenchART. So before starting, I want to excuse for my voice. I have one big flu, but let's jump and be quick about all this voiceover because I'm really in bad shape at the moment. So xDefiant is the new free-to-play game from Ubisoft. So it's a shooter which contains a lot of game modes, and it's a very fast-paced game that sometimes resembles the old Call of Duty Deathmatch and Capture the Flag um, classic, but this time around with the Twitch, with the kind of Ubisoft multiplayer that like Rainbow Six. We have multiple classes, you have multiple weapons. The more you play, the more you unlock. But yeah, that's apparently it. The game is free. It's available through Uplay, so you need to download Uplay and play it through there. It's not available on Steam in case you are searching for it. But let's jump to what I'm here for. How is the performance of this game on the GTX 1650 Super? So before starting, I did use the X12 for the majority of all the tests. So, I mean, for all the tests, the X11 was the default, but I decided to go with the X12, which consumes a little bit more of VRAM than the X11, but that wasn't really the issue with the majority of the settings that I did try it out. So, if you go with 1080p low, the game will use 75% of resolution scaling, so it's a little bit higher than upscaling from 720p. Despite it doesn't look so, because the temporal anti-aliasing being used in here, it's very effective, which is good. And it doesn't look bad by any means by playing at low settings. And I mean, this is a very fast-paced multiplayer title, so you want all the frames that you want, all the frames that you can get. And if you go with low settings, your experience will be overall above 140, 120 frames per second. So it's the perfect setting if you want to enjoy fully your high refresh rate screen. Alright, so still, if you have G-Sync or FreeSync, it is recommended. Since my 1% low, it was below than 120. So if you have a G-Sync or FreeSync screen, it surely will help in this setting. Now, another setting that I did try out, it was 1080p median, and that setting did provide an experience overall around 100 frames per second. So that's always also a good option if you have a FreeSync or G-Sync screen, because the frames will be cool. It will be around 100 frames per second. Or if you don't have any of those high refresh rate screens, at least you are getting a frame rate well above 60 frames per second. And the game looks obviously much better than median settings. High settings on this game, my experience, it was above 60 frames per second. But what is important to mention is I only tried like one match per setting, and each match have a different maps, obviously. So it wasn't really a comparison of apples to apples. So certain map might be more demanding than other map, or a certain condition, like if you get into a firefight in 4 versus 4 and grenades all over the place, you might have a spike of demandingness at that moment. So it's really hard to compare, or it's really hard to guarantee that 1080p won't drop from 60 frames per second. But from the test that I did conduct with the high settings, I was able to get an experience above 60. But I can't really hold my breath that it will be the same behavior for the rest of the maps. Probably not, and if that's the case, I think you are better off with median settings, to be honest. 1080p Ultra, it is where the things will start to drop frames below 60, so it's not recommended, but to each of its own. It's you that needs to decide about that, but for me, in this type of multiplayer title, I want to avoid to have frames lower than 60 frames per second, and Ultra, well, unfortunately, it drops below 60. Also, it is important to mention that Ultra settings, it's not the maximum settings for this game. There are still some other options that you can still raise, like shadow quality and global illumination, that you can still put some settings higher than that. Alright, so Ultra is not the maximum. But since Ultra was already below 60 at some points, I decided to not even max out the game, because it wouldn't make any sense. Then I moved on to 1440p. So I started with 75% of resolution scaling with the low settings at 1440p, and the experience was overall around 100 frames per second or more, so it's a viable option if you have a G-Sync or FreeSync screen and you are playing at 120 or 144 Hz. Median settings at 1440p, it was good if you want to play above 60, and 1440p high settings, it starts to drop below 60 some of the times. Now, the last setting that I did try out, it was 4K with low settings and 75% of resolution scaling, which means that it wasn't even native 4K. Well, frame rate sometimes it was below than 60. So, probably if I was about to play at 4K low settings, I would probably put the resolution scaling to 50%. Also, 4K low settings, I started to run with VRAM issues. There was some moments where frame times started to spike and have an interesting weird behavior. I also started to notice that at 1440p high settings. So yeah, that's about it. So my own recommendation for this game, it is to play probably the game at 1080p median settings. This type of multiplayer games, graphics are not really that important. And I think that 1080p low settings provides a very good frame rate, around 100 frames per second, which is sufficient for me. That I just have like a 60 Hz screen, so it's fine for me. Although if I had like 120 Hz monitor or 144, I would probably want to play with low settings, with 75% of resolution scaling and 1080p. So yeah, that's it. My recommended settings for this game is 1080p median, but you decide what's best for you. Now with this, you can jump to any of the graphical setting that you want to see my gameplay. It's on the timestamps of the video, it's on the description. And in case you have any doubts about anything, don't hesitate. Just leave a comment on the comment section of the video. So I'm very sorry for my voice. Probably my voice like this, it's much better than my regular one. I'm very curious to see how this pans out. Thank you much for watching, and I do hope to see you soon. Goodbye.
We're on the zone! Enemies on the zone!
Grenades away!
Doctor zone contested! Zone is in danger!
Asian mags! Flag out!
The capture zone is changing location! Capture it! Drop them! The situation has changed. The capture zone is moving.
Asian mags!
you're after. Domination. Rule number 6. There's always another war, another cantina, another capture zone. 3, 2, 1. Take the zones! Topple the enemy! Viva la revolución! We're taking Zone A.
Frag out!
Zone's ours now. We're taking Zone B. Loadout changed.
Throwing grenade!
Grenade out!
The enemy is attacking Zone B.
Gathering intel!
Hey, if guerrilla warfare was easy, there'd be a lot fewer goose-stepping fascists in the world. The enemy is
Scanning
taking
for
Zone A.
hostiles!
Loadout changed.
Frag out! Grenade out!
Take a deep breath! Reloading! For me!
New weapon.
Frag out!
Frag out!
Ah! Enemy dead! We're taking Zone B. Domination. Rule number 6. There's always another war, another cantina, another capture zone. 3, 2, 1. Take the zones. Defend them to the end. We're taking Zone A. Zone's ours now.
Salute!
We're taking Zone B. Amigos capturing Zone C. Capture zone contested. Good kill. Hit for that.
The best
Capture zone
revenge
is ours
is
now.
revenge.
The enemy is attacking Zone B! Hey, if guerrilla warfare was easy, there'd be a lot fewer goose-stepping fascists in the world.
Throwing grenade!
Salute! Strike deployed!
Capture zone contested!
Deploying front! Help! I'm in bad shape!
Securing the zone! Drop them!
Help! I smell that!
Protect the zone!
Flashbang out!
Securing the zone! The capture zone is changing location!
Max, cover me! Reloading!
Enemies on the zone! Capture zone contested! Securing the zone!
Seeking on the right!
Enemy dead! The situation has changed. The capture zone is moving. Securing the zone!
Reloading! Cover me!
Capture zone contested! Protect the zone! The capture zone is changing location! Occupy. Revolution rule number 48. A guerrilla only takes what they can defend. 3, 2, 1. Take over the capture zone. Keep
Scanning
out the
for
basura.
hostiles!
Changing mags!
Protect the zone. Capture zone contested. Took him out. Enemies on the zone!
New mag.
The situation has changed. The capture zone is moving. Capture zone contested. Hey, if guerrilla warfare was easy, there'd be a lot fewer goose-stepping fascists in the world.
Deploying frag! Grenade!
Took him out! Securing...
Take a deep breath.
Shield out.
The capture zone is changing
Changing
location!
mags.
Protect the zone!
A deep breath.
Zone is in danger!
Deploying frag.
The situation...
I'm in bad shape.
Escort. Put a stop to the enemy's little smuggling operation. Do whatever it takes to keep the enemy from escorting their package to the delivery zone. Enemy is creeping up on the checkpoint. The enemy passed the checkpoint. Set up your sabotage.
Reload! I need a can of healer.
Okay, that's enough lives for your cause. Now you take some.
Scanning for hostiles. Condition! Critical! Smell that!
after. They're almost to the checkpoint. Uh-oh! Enemy cleared another checkpoint.